My name is Madison, and I just turned 24 today. Instead of celebrating, I'm working a 12-hour shift at Memorial Hospital. The worst birthday text ever just lit up my phone. We sold your car. Family comes first. Be grateful we let you live here rent-free. My heart dropped. That car was mine. Every penny paid from my nursing salary. Then came the second text about my brother's tuition, $5,800. Due this week. They've taken from me before, but this time would be different. I just didn't know how different yet. Before I continue my story, if you're watching this, please drop a comment letting me know where you're from, hit that like button, and subscribe to hear more stories about standing up for yourself when family crosses the line. Growing up in the Sanders household meant one thing: hierarchy. My father, Frank, ruled with iron authority. My mother, Linda, followed his lead without question, and my younger brother, Derek, the golden child who could do no wrong. This dynamic shaped our family for as long as I can remember. I started working at 16, babysitting neighborhood kids and taking weekend shifts at the local grocery store. By 18, I was no longer allowed to freeload. That's when the rent payments began, despite still being in high school. $400 monthly went straight to my parents, though I never saw any household improvements that might have come from my contribution. Meanwhile, Derek enjoyed complete financial freedom, his room filled with gaming consoles, expensive shoes, and whatever else caught his eye. My parents funded his hobbies, sports equipment, and even his first car when he turned 16. A stark contrast to my reality. The taking never stopped at just money. When I won a small scholarship for community college, my parents insisted I hand it over since they provided a roof. When my grandmother left me her pearl necklace, it mysteriously appeared around my mother's neck at a family function. Family shares, she explained when I questioned it. Despite these obstacles, I pursued my nursing career with determination. Community college classes between shifts, clinical rotations on weekends, and late-night study sessions eventually earned me my RN license. The hospital hired me immediately after graduation, and I finally felt a sense of achievement my family couldn't diminish. Last month brought a promotion to charge nurse on the pediatric floor. My colleagues brought cupcakes and cards to celebrate. One nurse, Amelia, even gave me a stethoscope charm for my bracelet. For the rising star, she said with genuine pride. These small moments of recognition meant everything to me since they never came at home. The car represented my first real independence. A used Toyota Corolla, nothing fancy but completely mine. I saved for 2 years, researched reliable models, and negotiated the price myself. The day I drove it home, my father scoffed. Could have gotten you a better deal if you'd asked, but I didn't care. The keys in my hand symbolized something he couldn't control. For my birthday this year, I had planned a small celebration after my shift. Nothing extravagant, just dinner with friends at a restaurant downtown. I even splurged on a new dress for the occasion, something I rarely allowed myself. The hospital scheduler had initially assigned me to work, but I didn't mind. My real celebration would come after. Tensions at home had escalated in recent weeks as Derek's college acceptance letters arrived. My parents beamed with pride at each one, showcasing them on the refrigerator like trophies. Your brother is going places, my father announced repeatedly during dinner. The unspoken comparison hung in the air each time. Last Sunday, they held a family dinner to announce Derek had chosen State University, the best business program in the region, my father proclaimed. No one mentioned how this prestigious choice would be funded. Now I understood why. They had been planning to use my resources all along. My mother frequently reminded me how fortunate I was that they still allowed me to live at home despite my full-time job. Most parents would charge much more, she would say. I had looked into apartments, but the housing market in our area made moving out financially challenging, especially with student loans looming over me. I calculated that another year at home would allow me to build enough savings for a security deposit and 6 months of rent. A goal now jeopardized by their latest demand. What my parents never acknowledged was how much I contributed beyond the rent. Groceries often appeared in the refrigerator after my shopping trips. Household repairs happened under my coordination. Bills got paid on time because I set up automatic payments from my account. I functioned more as a provider than a dependent, yet the narrative never changed. As my birthday approached, I received subtle hints that any celebration would be overshadowed by Derek's college preparations. "We need to focus on the important things coming up," my mother said when I mentioned taking a day off. The message was clear. My milestones weren't priority. What I didn't realize was that they weren't just dismissing my birthday. They were actively plotting to use it as the perfect opportunity to blindside me with demands. After all, who would cause family drama on their birthday? They counted on my history of acquiescence, my pattern of putting family harmony above my own needs. The perfect time to strike. The morning of my birthday began like any other. No cards waited at my place at the breakfast table. No birthday wishes came as I prepared for work. I told myself it didn't matter. My worth wasn't determined by their recognition. Still, the complete absence of acknowledgement stung in ways I tried not to examine too closely. The pediatric ward buzzed with the usual controlled chaos that morning. 2 new admissions before 9, a nervous first-time mother with endless questions, and charting that somehow multiplied when I wasn't looking. I threw myself into the work, finding comfort in the structured routine and clear purpose of caring for others. Around noon, Amelia appeared at the nurse's station with a small cupcake, topped with a single candle. "Make a wish," she whispered, keeping the gesture private since she knew I disliked being the center of attention. The small act of kindness nearly brought tears to my eyes. "We're grabbing dinner after shift change if you're still up for it," she reminded me. Casey and Tina already reserved the table at Giovanni's. I nodded, suddenly grateful for these friendships that had developed among hospital corridors and patient rooms. "Wouldn't miss it," I replied, already looking forward to unwinding with people who actually valued my presence. Dr. Reynolds even noticed as he passed by. "Birthday girl? Still working the floor?" "Dedication right there, Sanders. This place is lucky to have you." His casual comment carried more genuine appreciation than I'd heard from my family in years. By 2 in the afternoon, I had almost forgotten the morning's disappointment. Then, my phone vibrated in my pocket during a rare, quiet moment. Thinking it might be birthday wishes from an aunt or cousin, I checked the screen. "Dad, we sold your car. Family comes first. Be grateful we let you live here rent-free." I stared at the message, certain I had misunderstood. My car? The one parked in the driveway this morning when I left for work? The one with my name on the title, purchased entirely with my own money? Before I could process this, a second message appeared. "Dad. Oh, and Derek's starting college next month. You'll cover his first semester. $5,800 due this week." My hands trembled so badly I nearly dropped the phone. A hot wave of disbelief washed over me, followed immediately by a cold rush of anger. They had sold my property without permission, and now expected me to empty my savings for Derek's education. I stepped into the supply closet for privacy and tried calling my father. The call went straight to voicemail. I tried my mother next, who answered on the 4th ring. "Madison, I'm busy right now," she answered, her voice artificially cheerful. I could hear Derek laughing in the background. "Mom, what is Dad talking about? You can't sell my car. The title is in my name." A pause. "Your father handled all that. We needed the money for family expenses, and since you live here for practically nothing, it seemed fair. Plus, You can take the bus to work. Lots of people do. The casual dismissal of my property rights stunned me. That's theft, Mom. You can't legally sell something that isn't yours. Don't be dramatic, she sighed. Your father added his name to the title months ago when he took it in for inspection. You signed the paperwork, remember? I did remember signing something he had thrust at me one morning as I rushed to work. Just registration renewal, he had said. The realization of their deception hit me like a physical blow. And the tuition money? I managed to ask. Well, that's just being fair. We've supported you all these years. Now it's your turn to help your brother. Family helps family. Her tone suggested this was the most reasonable request in the world. I have to go, I said, unable to continue the conversation without saying things I might regret. Patience waiting. As I hung up, a text from Derek appeared. Thanks for helping with tuition, sis. Dad says you're covering first semester. You're the best. The entitlement in his message pushed me over the edge from shock to fury. I typed and deleted several responses before putting my phone away. This couldn't be handled during my shift. Patience deserved my full attention, not the fragmented focus of someone in personal crisis. For the next 6 hours, I functioned on autopilot. Medications dispensed, vitals checked, parents reassured, all while my mind raced with calculations and scenarios. The $5,800 represented most of my apartment savings fund. The car was worth about $12,000, money I would never see, according to my father's messages. By the time my shift ended, I had received 3 more texts from my father, each one more demanding than the last. Dad, we need the tuition money by Friday. Dad, your mother is stressed about this. Don't make things difficult. Dad, family obligations come before personal wants. We raised you better than this. I canceled dinner with my friends, promising to reschedule. This situation required immediate handling, and I needed all my energy for the confrontation ahead. The irony wasn't lost on me. Another birthday celebration sacrificed to family drama. The bus ride home took 45 minutes, compared to my usual 15-minute drive. Each stop gave me more time to strengthen my resolve. This would end tonight, one way or another. When I walked through the front door, the smell of pot roast filled the house. My mother's go-to meal for family celebrations or difficult conversations. The table was set with the good dishes, another warning sign. There she is, my father called from his recliner, not bothering to look away from the television. Birthday girl finally home. Dinner's almost ready. I set my bag down carefully. Where's my car? Sold it this morning. Guy gave us cash. He finally turned to look at me, his expression challenging. Good timing, too, with Derek's tuition coming due. You had no right, I said, keeping my voice steady. That was my property. My mother emerged from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel. Let's not start the evening with arguments. I made your favorite dessert. Chocolate cake doesn't fix theft, Mom. Derek bounded down the stairs, oblivious to the tension. Hey, tuition fairy, he joked, punching my arm lightly. Dad says you're covering first semester. Awesome timing since I just ordered my new laptop for school. The casual entitlement in his voice made something snap inside me. Years of accommodating, accepting, and adjusting to their demands crystallized into a single moment of clarity. This would not happen again. Dinner's ready, my mother announced, gesturing toward the dining room. Let's all sit down like a proper family. The meal began with strained small talk. Weather, hospital gossip, Derek's dormitory assignment. No mention of my birthday, the car, or the tuition demand. I picked at my food, waiting. Finally, as my mother served dessert, my father cleared his throat. So, about Derek's tuition, We need the check by Friday. University wants first payment before orientation. I set down my fork carefully. I'm not paying Derek's tuition. The silence that followed felt physical, pressing against my skin. What do you mean you're not paying? My father's voice remained conversational, but his knuckles whitened around his water glass. It means no. I'm not giving you $5,800. I'm not covering Derek's education. And you had no legal right to sell my car. My mother jumped in. Madison, be reasonable. We've given you everything. A home, support through nursing school, family meals every night. I paid for nursing school myself. I pay rent. I buy groceries. And that car was mine. Purchased with my money, with my name on the title, until Dad committed fraud by adding his name without my knowledge. My father's face darkened. You ungrateful little. After everything we've done, you live in our house practically free. I pay $400 monthly rent, plus utilities, plus groceries. That's hardly free. That's nothing compared to what apartments cost, he shouted, mask of reasonableness slipping. Then perhaps it's time I got my own apartment. Derek looked between us, confusion replacing his earlier smugness. Wait, so you're not paying my tuition? Dad said it was all arranged. I turned to him. No, Derek, I'm not paying your tuition. Dad sold my car illegally and apparently pocketed the money. You'll need to apply for student loans like most college students. This is ridiculous, my father stood, napkin falling to the floor. Your brother deserves an education. Family supports family. Funny how that support only flows in one direction, I replied, remaining seated. When I needed help with nursing prerequisites, I worked double shifts. When I needed clinical uniforms, I picked up extra weekend hours. When my car needed repairs, I took the bus until I saved enough. Where was family support then? My mother began to cry, her go-to tactic when confrontations escalated. Why are you doing this to us? To your brother? We're family. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't forge signatures on title transfers. Family doesn't demand someone's savings as an obligation. My father's face had turned an alarming shade of red. You have two options, Madison. Either you write the check for your brother's tuition by Friday, or you find somewhere else to live. Family comes first, and if you can't prioritize family, you don't deserve to be part of this one. I stood slowly, matching his stance. Is that your final decision? And if you walk out that door without agreeing to help, he continued as if I hadn't spoken, you're dead to me, dead. To me. No daughter of mine would be so selfish. The threat that had worked so many times before, keeping me in line, maintaining the family dynamic, this time, it fell flat. Something had fundamentally changed inside me. A shift so profound, I felt physically different standing there. I'll have my things out by morning, I said quietly. My mother gasped. You can't be serious. Where will you go? What will you do? I'll figure it out. I always have. I turned to leave the dining room. She's bluffing, Derek said, breaking the tension. She always caves. Remember when Dad took her graduation money for the deck repair? She complained for days, but still gave in. Not this time, I said without turning around. Happy birthday to me. My father's voice followed me up the stairs. You'll regret this decision for the rest of your life, after everything we've done for you. What they didn't understand yet was that the only thing I regretted was not doing this years ago. Once in my bedroom, I closed the door and leaned against it, heart pounding. The magnitude of what I'd just done threatened to overwhelm me. 24 years of compliance shattered in a single conversation. But beneath the anxiety bubbled something unexpected, relief. I sat on my bed and pulled out my phone, ignoring the notifications from downstairs. 3 missed calls from Amelia. I returned her call first. Madison, everything okay? We're at the restaurant wondering where you are. I need a huge favor, I said, my voice steadier than I expected. Could I crash at your place tonight? Family situation imploded. Of course. Do you need me to come get you? I'll grab an Uber. Thank you. Next, I called Casey, another nurse from my floor who had recently mentioned her apartment complex had vacancies. Any chance that 1 bedroom is still available? I need to move. Immediately. While my family continued dinner downstairs, I began a methodical inventory of my life. Clothing, essential documents, nursing equipment, and personal mementos went into piles. What could fit in 2 suitcases? What mattered most? As I sorted, memories surfaced of previous financial manipulations. My first paycheck from the hospital, when my father insisted I contribute to family vacation funds that somehow only covered their Florida trip. The time my aunt gave me $300 for Christmas, which my mother held for safekeeping and never returned. The student loan refund check that mysteriously needed to cover household expenses. Each instance had seemed isolated, reasonable when framed as family need. Strung together, they formed a pattern of systematic financial abuse that stole more than money. They had taken my agency, my boundaries, and nearly my self-worth. I pulled out my laptop and checked my bank accounts. After rent payments, student loan payments, and regular expenses, I had saved just over $7,000 toward apartment costs. Not enough for the best places, but sufficient to start somewhere new. A text from Tina, another nurse friend. My cousin manages Ridgeview Apartments. Budget, friendly, safe neighborhood. Want me to call her? Support materialized from unexpected places. People I hadn't realized were watching, noticing the subtle signs of my family situation, now stepped forward with offers of help. While sorting through my closet, I discovered the folder containing my car paperwork. The original title showed only my name, but attached was a new registration with my father's signature forged alongside mine. Methodically, I photographed every document, every receipt, every proof of purchase and ownership. In my desk drawer, I found years of rent receipts, handwritten by my father, $400 monthly since I was 18, nearly $25,000 paid to my parents over 6 years. I had insisted on receipts for tax purposes, a fiction they accepted without question. Now those scraps of paper provided a record of my contributions. Deeper in the drawer lay bank statements showing withdrawals for household expenses, handwritten lists of items purchased for the family, and notes about bill payments I had covered during lean months. I had unconsciously been documenting the financial imbalance for years. Around 10 o'clock, I heard my parents' bedroom door close. Derek's video game sounds drifted under my door. I continued packing methodically, now pulling out my birth certificate, social security card, and passport from their hiding place inside an old textbook. My nursing degrees and certifications went into a protective folder. The stethoscope my clinical instructor had gifted upon graduation. The small wooden box containing my grandmother's earrings that I had managed to keep hidden when the rest of her jewelry disappeared into my mother's collection. By midnight, 2 suitcases and a backpack contained the portable portions of my life. My bookshelves, bed, and desk would remain behind. Small sacrifices for freedom. During these hours of preparation, a plan formed. Not just for immediate escape, but for long-term justice. Using my laptop, I created a comprehensive spreadsheet. Every financial transaction, every loan never repaid, every item taken, every contribution expected or demanded. The car sale, approximately $12,000. Monthly rent for 6 years, $24,000. Household expenses beyond rent, roughly $8,000. The graduation money for deck repairs, 1,000. Student loan money redirected to family needs, 5,000. Birthday and holiday gifts confiscated, uncountable smaller amounts. The spreadsheet grew, page after page of financial records. Conservative estimates placed the total at over $43,000 taken from me since I turned 18. Money that should have purchased my freedom years ago. In a separate document, I drafted a formal letter. Not a note of anger or accusation, but a professional accounting of funds owed, property illegally sold, and my intent to pursue legal remedies if not addressed. I cited relevant laws regarding illegal property transfer, tenant rights, and familial financial abuse. To this letter, I attached copies of all documentation, photographs of receipts, bank statements, and the car title showing the altered registration. The final document spanned 27 pages. Around 1 in the morning, I heard Derek's door close. The house fell silent except for my father's distant snoring. I made 3 copies of the entire document package. One would remain with me. One would go to a lawyer I had researched who specialized in family financial abuse, and one would be left behind for my family to find. By 2 in the morning, my preparations were complete. I changed the passwords on all my accounts, removed my personal information from shared family devices, and contacted the hospital to update my address and phone number in their records. I looked around the room that had been mine since childhood. Swimming trophies from high school, nursing school textbooks, the bulletin board with photos of hospital friends. Nothing that couldn't be replaced or left behind. The truly important things were already packed or stored in my heart. The final item I placed in my bag was a framed photo of my grandmother. "Always know your worth," she had told me once. Tonight, I finally understood what she meant. The house creaked its familiar night sounds as I carried my bags downstairs at 3 in the morning, each step calculated to avoid the noisy spots on the staircase. Years of late-night hospital shifts had taught me how to move silently through the sleeping house. In the kitchen, I placed 1 copy of my documentation package on the counter, clearly labeled Family Financial Accounting in bold letters. Not hidden, but not immediately obvious either. They would find it when they woke. Next, I sent an email to the lawyer I had contacted earlier, attaching digital copies of all documentation and requesting an appointment later that day. The response was automatic but reassuring. "Your message has been received. Our office will contact you during business hours." My phone showed several missed calls and texts from my parents and Derek sent after I left the dinner table. I hadn't heard them through my closed door. The messages followed a predictable pattern. "Dad, you're being ridiculous. Come downstairs and apologize." "Mom, please don't upset your father more. Just come talk to us." "Derek, way to ruin my college plans, sis. Selfish much?" Each message reinforced my decision. No recognition of wrongdoing, no acknowledgement of boundaries crossed, just expectations of continued compliance. I wrote a single text to my mother. "I'm safe. Don't contact me." Then I silenced all notifications from family members. The empty space in the driveway where my car should have been felt like a physical representation of all they had taken. I stood there a moment, allowing myself to feel the loss, then walked to the street corner where my Uber would arrive. The driver, a middle-aged woman named Patricia, according to the app, took one look at my suitcases and expression and mercifully asked no questions. "Long night?" was her only comment. "Long life," I replied, "but it's getting better." Amelia's apartment building came into view 20 minutes later. Despite the hour, she was waiting in the lobby, hair tousled from sleep, but eyes alert with concern. "Guest room's all yours for as long as you need," she said, helping with my bags. "Want to talk about it? Or save it for morning?" Morning, I said, suddenly exhausted. And thank you. This means more than you know. The guest room was small but comfortable. Clean sheets, a bedside lamp, and blessed privacy. I set up basic essentials, then collapsed onto the bed. Despite everything, sleep came almost instantly, deeper and more peaceful than any night under my parents' roof. I woke to sunlight and the smell of coffee. For a moment, I felt disoriented. Then the previous day's events rushed back. My birthday, the car, the confrontation, the escape. Amelia sat at her kitchen counter, scrolling through her phone. Morning, warrior? How you feeling? Like I should have done this years ago, I answered truthfully. Your phone's been blowing up. She nodded toward my backpack, where my silenced phone was stashed. Heard it vibrating for the past hour. I pulled it out to find 27 missed calls, 43 text messages, and numerous voicemails. Not just from my immediate family, but from aunts, uncles, and family friends. The document package had been discovered. Most interesting were the texts from my Aunt Susan, my father's sister. What did you leave behind? Your father is apoplectic. Did you really document everything? Years of it? I had no idea this was happening. None of us did. They're in complete panic mode here. Your father is calling everyone. I sipped coffee while scrolling through the digital aftermath of my departure. My mother's messages shifted from anger to manipulation. How could you do this to us? Your own family? Your father might lose his job if this gets out. Please come home. We can discuss this reasonably. Derek is devastated. His future is at stake. My father's messages followed a different trajectory. This is slander. We gave you everything. You'll regret this betrayal. No one will believe you over your own parents. Legal action? Against family? You've lost your mind. And finally, most tellingly, what will it take to make this go away? Name your price. So, there it was. When confronted with evidence of years of financial exploitation, his response was to attempt another transaction. Everything reduced to monetary value. Derek's messages surprised me most. Dad's going ballistic over whatever you left. What did you do? Is it true they sold your car without permission? That's messed up. Dad says, you're making things up, but Mom can't stop crying. What's real here? The first hint that perhaps my brother wasn't fully complicit, just benefiting from the family dynamic without questioning its foundations. While reviewing these messages, a new text arrived from Susan. Your father is on the porch arguing with neighbors who came to complain about the shouting. Your mother hasn't stopped crying since finding your documents. I'm in shock reading these records. Had no idea things were this bad. Can we talk? I responded to only Susan's message. I'm safe. Consulting with legal counsel today. Will contact you when I'm ready. Amelia watched me process this digital deluge with knowing eyes. Family drama going nuclear? They found what I left behind, I explained. A complete accounting of every dollar they've taken from me over the years. Every manipulation, every theft, with documentation. Damn, she whispered. No wonder they're freaking out. What's your next move? Meeting with a lawyer at 11. Then apartment hunting. Starting over. She nodded. I'm off shift today. Want backup? The offer of support nearly undid my composure. That would be amazing. While showering and preparing for the day, my phone continued its silent vibration dance. New players entered the drama. Uncle Robert. Your father says you're making false accusations. What's going on? Cousin Jennifer. Everyone's talking about some document you left. Mom's crying. What happened? Family friend Mark. Frank asked me to reach out. says there's been a misunderstanding. The family system mobilizing to restore balance, to bring the wayward member back into line, but their efforts were directed at the wrong target. I wasn't wayward. I was free. Before leaving for the lawyer's office, I sent a single group text to my extended family. For years, I've experienced financial exploitation from my parents. Yesterday, they sold my car without permission and demanded I pay Derek's college tuition. I've left comprehensive documentation of all financial abuse with legal counsel. I'm safe, but will not return to that house. Please respect my privacy during this time. Then I turned off my phone completely. Whatever storm was breaking over my family home, I wouldn't be caught in the downpour. The meeting with lawyer Judith Bennett went better than expected. After reviewing my documentation, she confirmed what I already suspected. I had a strong case for recovery of assets. The car sale is the clearest issue, she explained. Forging signatures on title transfers is fraud, plain and simple. The rent payments are murkier legally, but help establish the pattern of financial control and exploitation. By the end of our 90-minute consultation, we had a plan. First, a formal demand letter for return of the car sale proceeds. Second, documentation submitted to local authorities regarding the fraudulent title transfer. Third, preparations for civil action if necessary. Most cases like this settle once the exploitative party realizes exposure is imminent, Judith assured me. No one wants family financial abuse made public, especially when the evidence is this comprehensive. After the lawyer's office, Amelia and I met Tina's cousin at Ridgeview Apartments. The available one-bedroom wasn't luxurious, but it was clean, secure, and within my budget. Most importantly, it required only first month's rent and security deposit, no lengthy credit checks or rental history. I signed the lease on the spot, move-in date immediate. Furnished units are $500 more monthly, the manager explained, but we can provide basics if needed. Bed, table, essential furniture. The additional cost would strain my budget, but sleeping on the floor seemed an unnecessary hardship after everything else. I agreed to the furnished option. By late afternoon, I had an apartment, legal representation, and the beginnings of a new independent life. Only then did I turn my phone back on, bracing for the onslaught. 112 missed calls, 76 voicemails, over 200 text messages. Most surprisingly, 8 missed calls from Derek himself, followed by a lengthy text. Madison, I had no idea about any of this. Dad always said you were happy to help with family expenses. I never knew they were taking your car payments, graduation money, or any of that stuff in your documents. They're saying you're lying, but Dad keeps changing his story about the car sale. Mom accidentally mentioned something about your grandmother's jewelry, too. I don't know what to believe anymore. I'm sorry if I've been part of hurting you. The first crack in the family narrative. The first recognition that perhaps the golden child status came at someone else's expense. My bank sent automated fraud alerts. Multiple attempted access to online banking from unrecognized device. They had tried to access my accounts, likely looking for the money they still believed would fund Derek's tuition. Aunt Susan's messages grew increasingly urgent. Your parents are falling apart. Your father has been on the phone with lawyers all day. The neighbors called a noise complaint this morning. Police came. Your mother told me about the jewelry. Your grandmother's pieces. I had no idea. Please call me when you can. I think you should know what's happening here. I finally called her from the safety of my new apartment, empty except for the promised basic furniture. Madison? Her voice sounded strained. Are you safe? I'm fine. Just started over. New apartment, new beginning. Your documents. I had no idea things were so bad. None of us did. She paused. Your father is telling everyone you've had some kind of breakdown, that you're making things up for attention. The documentation speaks for itself, I replied calmly. Bank records don't lie. I know. That's why this is so shocking. Frank has always been controlling, but this goes beyond anything I imagined. Another pause. He's contacted 3 different lawyers today. None will take his case after seeing your evidence. What about Derek's tuition? I asked, curious about the original catalyst. He's applying for student loans now. Your mother is devastated that he might have to delay enrollment. The familiar guilt technique, even relayed secondhand. He'll survive starting a semester late if necessary. Plenty of students do. Your father, she hesitated. He tried to list your car as stolen this morning. The police officer asked for the title, and when your father showed the altered document, the officer recognized the forgery immediately. There's talk of potential charges. The consequences unfolding faster than even I had anticipated. That wasn't my intention. I know, honey. But actions have consequences. Even Frank's ding. Her voice softened. Your grandmother would be proud of you. She always worried Frank was too controlling with money. The conversation continued, filling in details of the family meltdown occurring across town. My father alternating between rage and panic. My mother cycling through tears and recriminations. Derek increasingly withdrawn as he processed the family's true dynamics. After hanging up, I sat in my nearly empty apartment, surrounded by suitcases and basic rental furniture. Everything I owned in the world fit in this small space. Yet, somehow, I had never felt richer. Amelia texted, "Dinner at my place tonight. The whole floor crew is coming. No birthday should pass without celebration." That evening, surrounded by colleagues who had become friends, I experienced a birthday celebration untainted by family manipulation. Small gifts appeared. A plant for my new apartment. Gift cards for household essentials. A framed nursing license to replace the one left behind. To Madison, Amelia toasted, raising her glass, who finally realized her worth isn't determined by those who try to diminish it. Later that night in my new apartment, I allowed myself to fully process the magnitude of change, the grief for the family relationship I had always wanted but never had, the anger at years of exploitation, the fear of an uncertain future, but mostly the profound relief of finally living authentically. My phone continued to collect messages from family members, their tone evolving as the reality of my departure and documentation settled in. From my father, the police came asking questions about the car sale. Is this what you wanted? To destroy your family? From my mother, please, call us. Your father is talking about moving to avoid embarrassment. What will people think? From Derek, I applied for student loans today. Dad's furious, says his credit will be affected. Is that why you always seemed stressed about money? Were they taking yours all along? Each message revealed more about their priorities. Reputation, appearances, convenience. Not remorse for the harm caused or recognition of boundaries violated. The lawyer called with an update. Your father's attorney contacted me. They're willing to discuss settlement terms regarding the car and other financial matters. So quickly? I asked, surprised. The evidence is overwhelming. Plus, there's potential criminal exposure with the forged title. They're motivated to resolve this quietly. By the end of my birthday week, my new life had begun taking shape. Basic furnishings filled my apartment. The hospital approved my request for additional shifts to rebuild my savings. Friends continued offering support in unexpected ways. Most significantly, my father, through his attorney, agreed to return the full value of the car plus additional compensation for other documented financial exploitation. The total settlement, $38,000. Not everything owed, but enough to secure my new beginning without prolonged legal battles. Derek contacted me directly, away from our parents' influence. I've been reading through copies of your documentation. Had no idea they were taking your nursing school money while telling me you were happy to help with my expenses. I'm sorry, Madison. Really sorry. The first genuine apology from anyone in my family. A small bridge across the chasm of years of imbalance. 1 month after my birthday revelation, my new apartment finally felt like home. Simple furnishings, carefully selected, walls painted soft blue instead of the beige my father had always insisted was practical. Plants thriving on the small balcony. A space entirely mine, reflecting choices entirely mine. The financial settlement arrived via certified check, exactly as negotiated. No personal note accompanied it, just legal documentation of funds transferred to resolve all claims. Business concluded. Family ties severed with the same clinical precision they had used to extract my resources for years. I allocated the money methodically. A reliable used car, different model from my previous one. Emergency savings fund. Student loan payments. Small investments for future security. Each transaction a declaration of independence. Each decision made solely for my benefit. Derek enrolled in community college instead of state university, taking prerequisites while waiting for student loan approval for the larger institution. Actually saving money this way, he texted. Might work through associate's degree here first. Makes more sense financially. His financial awakening continued evolving through regular texts and occasional phone calls, always when our parents weren't around. Dad tried to borrow from my savings account yesterday. Caught him with my online banking open on his computer. Finally understanding what you went through. My mother attempted reconciliation through intermediaries, first Aunt Susan, then family friends, each carrying messages of maternal concern without actual acknowledgement of wrongdoing. She misses you, they reported. The house feels empty without you. I maintained polite but firm boundaries. I'm well, building a new life, not ready for contact yet. Each messenger returned with this simple statement. Each reaction from my mother reportedly tearful but without substantive change in perspective. My father maintained silence after the settlement. His pride wounded more than his heart, according to family reports. He doesn't understand why you needed to go public with family matters, Aunt Susan explained during our weekly calls. Still sees it as betrayal rather than self-protection. His opinion mattered less each day. His approval no longer the currency of my self-worth. Professionally, I thrived. The promotion to charge nurse became permanent, with hints from nursing administration about potential advancement into management tracks if interested. Freedom from family financial drainage allowed me to pursue additional certifications, expanding my career options. Amelia and the other nurses remained steady presences, our friendship deepening beyond workplace camaraderie. Weekend brunches, movie nights, hiking trips to nearby state parks. The family I chose rather than inherited. 3 months after my departure, Aunt Susan arranged a carefully structured meeting. Just her, Derek, and me at a neutral restaurant. No parents, no pressure, just conversation. I never saw it before, Derek admitted over dinner. How differently they treated us. How much they took from you while giving to me. It was so normal, I never questioned it. That's how family systems work, I explained. Everyone plays assigned roles. The golden child doesn't see the scapegoat's burden because they're not meant to see it. I'm sorry I was part of it, he said, eyes downcast. The tuition demand was the last straw, wasn't it? The car was the last straw, I corrected. Taking something I had worked so hard for, something that represented independence. The tuition was just confirmation of how they viewed me. An ATM, not a daughter. Susan reached across the table to squeeze my hand. Your grandmother saw it happening. She tried to intervene before she passed. That's why she left specific items directly to you in her will. Most of which disappeared anyway, I noted without bitterness. I've spoken to your mother about that. The jewelry should be returned. Susan's expression turned serious. Some patterns are breaking, Madison. Slowly, but breaking. That evening marked the beginning of healing, not with my parents, but with the family members capable of growth and recognition. Derek and I established a new relationship based on mutual respect rather than prescribed roles. Susan became a surrogate mother figure, offering the unconditional support my biological mother never could. 6 months after my birthday revelation, I received a letter from my father. Not apology or reconciliation, but notification. We're selling the house, downsizing. If you want any remaining belongings, arrange pickup by month's end. Derek helped me retrieve childhood mementos and remaining possessions. My parents conveniently absent during our scheduled visit. The room I had occupied for 24 years, already partially converted to storage, my existence already being erased. They're struggling, Derek reported as we loaded boxes. Dad's pride won't let him admit he was wrong, but the family knows. Cousins, aunts, uncles, everyone's seen the documentation. Their standing has changed. Social consequences I hadn't anticipated or sought, but perhaps necessary for systemic change. The family financial abuser exposed could no longer operate with impunity. My mother left a sealed envelope on my stripped bed. Inside, my grandmother's pearl necklace and earrings, returned without note or explanation. A silent acknowledgement of at least one wrongdoing, perhaps the only one she could bring herself to admit. Today marks 1 year since that birthday text message that changed everything. My new apartment has become a true home. My career continues advancing. My financial situation grows increasingly secure. Most importantly, the constant anxiety that accompanied every interaction with my parents has faded, replaced by confidence in my boundaries and decisions. Family relationships continue evolving. Derek visits regularly, our sibling bond reforged on healthier terms. Susan and her husband include me in holiday gatherings, creating new traditions. Extended family members maintain connections free from my parents' narrative control. My parents themselves remain distant figures. Occasional updates received through family channels, their downsized home. My father's early retirement. My mother's health concerns. Information I receive with compassion but detachment, maintaining the boundaries that protect my hard-won peace. The most valuable lesson from this journey came from Judith Bennett during our final meeting after the settlement. Family isn't who shares your DNA, she said. Family is who respects your boundaries, celebrates your successes without jealousy, and loves you without conditions or invoices attached. I've built that family now. Friends who became sisters, colleagues who became supporters, a brother reclaimed from toxic dynamics. Extended family members who chose relationship over loyalty to harmful systems. The freedom I fought for has blossomed into something more precious than mere independence. It's become authentic connection, relationships based on mutual respect rather than obligation or exploitation. The family I deserved all along. If you're watching this, and something in my story resonates with your own experience, please know that you deserve better. Financial abuse within families often goes unrecognized because it's wrapped in language of obligation and loyalty. But love doesn't take. Love doesn't exploit. Love doesn't come with price tags. What boundaries do you need to establish in your own relationships? Have you experienced similar dynamics in your family? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if this story helped you recognize patterns in your own life. Remember, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is say no more and walk toward the life you deserve. Thank you for listening to my journey, and I wish you courage on yours.